Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be 5 tricks for trans girls to make your face look more feminine with makeup. Before we start this video, I am wearing extensions. So I am so sorry for this big mess. I just don't want to clean it. Okay, so let's just get right into the tips and tricks. So the first thing I'm going to say, and this isn't necessarily a tip or trick, but it's something that every girl should do, whether you're trans or not trans, but especially if you're trans, make sure that you have a good moisturizer for your skin because it helps with the texture of your skin and it just makes it all look a lot more smooth. So I just went in with my favorite moisturizer, which is the Clinique Dramatically Different Jelly. I'm obsessed. I have combination oily skin and it works really well for me. So then I kind of go in with like a primer, but it's kind of like a second moisturizer. It's called the Prisma Protect by Dermalogica. It's luminous. It also has SPF. You got to protect that skin. We're not trying to get wrinkles, honey. No, no, no. Okay, so now that all of that is on and my skin is bright red, I love that for me, I'm going to go in with foundation. Now, the overall theme for this entire tips and trick video is going to be less is more. So honestly, I know it looks like I just put a lot of foundation on my face, but I really didn't, trust me. I think that a light layer of foundation truly is a little bit better depending on your skin type and if you have a lot of discoloration or if you have like a 5 o'clock shadow or whatever it may be. Obviously do what suits you best for your skin coverage, but in my opinion, I think that less is more, and even if you're wearing a lot, you need to make it look like less. So I did probably like a drop and a half of foundation all over my whole face. You go in with concealer. I know, okay, I was like less is more, and then I'm putting on a shitload of concealer. I just think that concealer is like a different story. And then if you do have a 5 o'clock shadow or a mustache or anything of that sort, shave it before you do your makeup, like right before you do your makeup. And then go in with an orange color corrector before your foundation. And then after, load up with, you can like load up with concealer in that area if it's still peeking through. And the key is, if you're going to be using a lot of concealer like this, like I am today, or even more, to each their own, I feel it's so important to be using a damp beauty sponge because honestly, it helps melt the makeup right into your skin and it makes it look so much more natural and more like it's just one with your skin, and that also has to do with good skincare. Your makeup can only look as good as the canvas that you start on. That's just my recommendation. So now that you have foundation and concealer on, what I like to do is go in and powder my face. Now another tip for this is sometimes I feel like trans women can really be like, oh my god, it's makeup, I'm so excited, like I'm just gonna go in and do the most. And if that's what you want to do, that's completely fine, and no hate, no shade, no tea, no anything. But in my opinion, my goal is to look passable. I don't necessarily want to look clockable, and to each their own. If people worry about that, or they don't worry about that, that's your own decision. But for me personally, I want to look passable, and I feel as if you do a more natural makeup look, it doesn't make you as clockable. And that's just like my opinion. Do I still go all out sometimes and do the absolute most? Absolutely. So what I think for powder is you can definitely bake a lot, and if I'm doing like a harsh contour on my nose or a harsh contour anywhere, I will really get that sponge out and like almost bake my entire face. But for my day-to-day looks, I like to go in with a brush like this shape. It's a Japanesque brush, but their brushes don't have any markings to say what kind of brush they are, so I can't really help you there. And really just like powder it up, and I just kind of do like a light dusting. But the more powder you put on, like cakier it looks. So I feel like a little bit of powder, a little bit of foundation, load up with concealer in the areas that you really want to conceal to get that looking good. So now that the powder is on, I'm going to go in with bronzer and blush and highlight. It looks like this. It's the Benefit Bronzers Cheek Leader palette. I like it a lot because it has everything I need. I'm literally not even going by numbers, like 1, 2, 3, or 5 for my tips. And if that's annoying you, I am so sorry. So I mix like a medium bronzer shade and like a little bit of a lighter bronzer shade together. And what I do is, well, now that I've got fillers in my cheeks, it makes it a little bit easier. But especially what I used to do is sometimes people contour, especially when they're new to makeup, they contour like lower, like they contour like right here. And what that does is it elongates your cheek area and it gives your face like this really weird shadow. It gives your face like a really weird sense of like dimension to it. We don't want that. So the trick is to mix the two colors together, and you wanna like contour higher so that it lifts your whole face up. Like it gives you like a little cheek lift. So you just go in. I know, okay, it looks really crazy right now, trust me. Oh my god, you're like, she looks fucking crazy, doesn't she? She looks absolutely psycho. So then I go in with the foundation brush, but like this is just like what I use. So then you buff it out and you're like, oh my god, she looks absolutely crazy, doesn't she? So then you take your sponge that you applied your foundation with and you crisp up that line right there. Okay, I swear this lighting is just super harsh. It literally doesn't look that crazy in real life. So I fucking told you guys that it didn't look like shit. I had to change the lighting because my other lights are shit. Okay, so I told you that the contour doesn't look like shit, and I had to change my lighting because my other lights are shit, and now I have a ring light on my table, and it's really fucking ghetto. So anyway, so we're gonna go in and do the other side and do the exact same thing, and then just make sure that it's high enough so that it doesn't fucking make your cheekbones sag to the floor. And you always have to buff it out with another brush, because if you try to blend it with the brush that you applied it with, I feel like all you're doing is applying more product and it's getting darker and scarier. So, and then when you go in again with the foundation sponge, underneath what it does is it reapplies a light layer of the foundation, lightening any bronzer that kind of dusted down, giving more of an illusion of a carved in cheekbone. And then I just use the exact same brush and I do my forehead, and I think it's important to do your forehead because traditionally women have smaller foreheads than men do. I think that contouring the nose is very important. So I go in with two different brushes. I go in with a It Cosmetics crease brush for eyeshadow. It looks like that. The lighting is too fucking bright. It's not gonna focus, so sorry about it. And then I go in with a 203 blending concealer brush, also from It Cosmetics. They're both relatively similar, except the blending concealer brush is just a little bit bigger and fluffier. So what I do is I go in with the crease brush. I only dip like the corner of it into the bronzer, and then I do like a super light dusting because I think that a natural bronze look is just a little bit less clockable than if you're doing the absolute most with your makeup. So I just go in with a little bit of that, just give it a little bit of color on the nose. Then I go in with the blending concealer brush and I just kind of buff it out a little bit. Once again, with my rule, if you're blending with the brush that you applied the product with, it's just gonna smack around more fucking product and then you're gonna look stupid, so just don't do it. And then I go back in with that foundation sponge and I just kind of dab a little bit along the corners, lightening up the sides, because you really kind of want to contour on like the bridge of your nose to make it look thinner and straighter. If you contour on the sides of your nose, it's going to make it look wider and uglier, so just don't do that. And I think that with all these contouring tips and tricks, it'll truly change the shape of your face and give you so much more of a feminine look, especially if you do it correctly. It'll look soft and not harsh and scary. For the eyebrows, I've come to the conclusion that I love thin eyebrows. Big eyebrows are ugly and I don't like them. Just kidding. If you like big eyebrows, live your best life, but I like small eyebrows. So that's my opinion. And I just go in, I spoolie them out. I think that thin eyebrows have so much more of a feminine vibe to them. So I have like medium-sized eyebrows. I think if they're too thick, they look very hefty and like masculine. My opinion, once again. So I like to go in with powder for this type of look because it's a lot less harsh. I do love a good pomade every now and again, but it can look a little bit dark and strong and just intense, and that isn't what I want out of life. I'm gonna go in with my Benefit eyebrow brush, spoolie on one side, angled on the other side, and Benefit Foolproof powder. I just go in with the lighter color and I just kind of smack that in super lightly through the front of the brow, and then I go in with the darker color and just do that in the corner of the brow, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now that my eyebrows are done, like they're subtle, they're there, but they're not too intense. Then I'm gonna go in back into my cheek leaders palette, go in with Colorista and Gold Rush. I love blush, lots of blush, it's everything. It makes you look youthful, it makes you look feminine, and it makes you look lively, so. And then I really just pack it on the apples of my cheeks. I'm just putting a shitload of blush because that's what I fucking want to do, so. And then I take the blush and I just do it a little bit on the tip of my nose. Like, I want to look a little bit like Rudolph, you know. Just the vibe, got with it. Okay, so now that blush is done, I'm going in with the highlighter in the palette, and it is called Cookie. So I go in with this, and I like really love highlight. I really go in with it and do the most. I know that I've said less is more, but sometimes more is more with certain things in your makeup routine. So just follow along and you'll look good. So you just go in with the highlighter and you just do the tiniest bit on the tip of your nose, and just the tip of your nose. Like, it's so cute. And then blend it out with your finger. And if you do a tinier dot on the tip of your nose, when the light hits it, it makes the ball of your nose look smaller. So in combination with the contour and the tiny little dot, it makes you look like you have a button nose. And who doesn't want a button nose? If you don't want a button nose, that's fine, but I do, so. And then I take the highlight and I just kind of put it underneath my eyebrow. Blend it out. And now I'm gonna do a super light eyeshadow look. So I'm gonna go in with the Tartelette Toasted palette. I just got it, so let's hope I like it, because if not, I'll just never use it again. And I'm gonna go in with Warmth, and we're just gonna throw that right in the crease, and we're just gonna do a super light glowy look. We'll probably use like 3 colors and be done. Like I said, less is more, but I think that sometimes eyeshadow can just make you look a little bit more put together and just uniform. And if you want like a little bit of a glam look, you can definitely do this, and it's great. While you are doing your eyeshadow, I always like to hydrate my lips. Usually it's with chapstick, but we're going in with Too Faced Lip Injection. Mine is kind of gross and crusty, but we want our lips to be as big and as pouty as possible. Maybe that's not everyone's cup of tea, but I feel like bigger lips is very, very, very feminine, along with high cheekbones, thin, high arched eyebrows, and also snatched noses. So I'm going to go in with Cashmere from here. Wow, that looks so pretty. And I'm just gonna throw that right on my lid. The JH35. And I'm gonna dip a little bit into Cozy. And I'm just gonna kind of buff that on to my lid, and like the outer V of my lid, and then just kind of bring that up into the crease. So it's nothing too harsh, but it's just like a nice little buffed out, bronzy, smoked look. And I'm gonna dip back into Warmth, and I'm just gonna buff that out on the bottom of my lash line. So far we have contouring your face higher so that it raises your cheekbones, contouring your forehead to make it just look a little bit smaller, and then contouring the bridge of your nose and going in on the sides, a little bit of the leftover foundation on the Beauty Blender to kind of snatch that up, and then thinner arched eyebrows to kind of lift up the face, and then lip gloss that is a lip plumper to kind of just give you a little bit more of a plump look to the lips, and then with the highlight, really go in with it towards the back of your cheekbones and really raise it up so that it gives the illusion of higher cheekbones. A little dot on the tip of your nose so that it makes your nose just look a little bit more small and perched up, a little bit more of a button nose, and then a light buffed out, blended out eyeshadow look. So far those are all the tips that I have done. And then for eyelashes, I always recommend lots of mascara or a fake lash. Nothing too crazy, nothing too intense if you're trying to be passable. If you want to go glam, go in with the full fucking lash. I've done that a million times, to each their own. And then the final step is obviously setting spray. Setting spray helps melt everything into your skin, look very uniform and very, very smooth. So I have a setting spray routine. So what I do is I go in with the Urban Decay All Nighter. So the Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray has a lot of alcohol in it. It tends to dry out your skin, but it also helps set the makeup. The alcohol helps lock it into place. I recently just got the Dewy Set by Anastasia Beverly Hills. It has glitter packaging, but there's no actual glitter in the spray. Now this doesn't have much alcohol in it. So I like to set my makeup with the Urban Decay and then dust over it with the Dewy Set because it gives me a dewy, natural look and just kind of restores the moisture back into my skin. But both setting sprays in conjunction help my makeup last all day. Okay, I hope that you guys liked this video and that it helped you out with any tips and tricks that you needed to know to make your face look more feminine. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you subscribe and like this video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.